The Genius Club with Prairie Pine. Chapter 50. Dream Entry Plan. Alex cared deeply about this question. After all, Gloria was still lying in the hospital, with her long-term vegetative state. Alex was worried if she would live to see the day the hibernation chamber was launched. However, Ethan had no worries at all about this. He chuckled and said, "That will probably take a very, very long time. Maybe humanity will never be able to create a hibernation chamber like the ones in sci-fi movies that can hibernate for hundreds or thousands of years. But that doesn't matter. For us normal people, we don't need a hibernation chamber that lets us sleep through hundreds or thousands of years. It's not like we're going on a long interstellar trip. Why sleep that long? Take someone like Gloria, or many terminally ill cancer patients, for example. They only need to hold on for 10 more years, or even a few decades, to wait for medical progress. Based on my estimate." Ethan rested his chin in his hand, watching the scurrying mouse and thinking. "I anticipate, if the country invests enough, we might be able to develop a prototype hibernation chamber that reduces human life activity by 10 times within 2 or 3 years. In fact, reducing it by 10 times is already sufficient. Take Gloria, for instance. If she sleeps in the hibernation chamber for 10 years, she will only age by 1 year. And in those 10 years, medicine will advance, science will progress, and maybe even more advanced hibernation chambers will appear." Alex nodded. Indeed, Ethan had thought more carefully. "Then, Professor, when do you plan to announce your research results?" "At least a week," Ethan said casually. "I still need to sort out the papers, experimental data, and so on. But news reports will probably be released in the next few days." As if suddenly remembering something, he picked up a document from the side and handed it to Alex. "By the way, during my research, I accidentally got a byproduct. I've already sent it to a friend at the Country Aerospace Research Institute, and they verified the same results." He took out a few pages of data for Alex to see. There were complex molecular formulas and various chemical structures on them. Alex couldn't understand any of them. "What is this?" "It's a hafnium compound, a brand new substance. This compound can be used to make a hafnium alloy that is high in hardness, corrosion resistant, and high temperature resistant. It might be useful in the aerospace field. Alex, if you don't mind, I want to publicly publish the experimental data on this hafnium alloy. Although I don't know its specific use, it can always promote the development of certain technologies." Alex nodded. Of course he didn't mind. Progress in various disciplines influenced each other. Ultimately, they could all drive technological advancement. "Then I'll leave, Professor. I won't disturb your research anymore. I look forward to the day your paper is published." After several more days of working overtime and staying up late, 3 pieces of good news arrived one after another. First, the news that Professor Ethan Hughes from East Sea University had overcome key hibernation difficulties went viral, shocking the world. No one had expected that hibernation technology, which was considered cutting edge even in sci-fi novels, would achieve a breakthrough in reality so soon. During this period, all the headlines everywhere were about Professor Hughes. The Country Aerospace Research Institute confirmed that Professor Hughes would soon announce a new aerospace material, and the institute had received samples in advance. The United States announced the establishment of a top-level laboratory dedicated to hibernation technology, aiming to lead the hibernation era wide and right. The Nobel Prize jury paid close attention to Professor Hughes's research results, stating that if the published paper was true, they would nominate him for the relevant Nobel Prize. The second piece of good news was that MX Company's new product launch conference, together with the Rhine brand launch conference, was a complete success. Not only did the pre-sales volume of the first product, the moisturizer, far exceed expectations, but even the Rhine cat dolls given away with the first launch gift boxes became a hot topic. They sparked a new wave of cuteness. Thanks to the word-of-mouth effect of Professor Hughes's golden signboard, this moisturizer, which was like a dimensionality-reducing blow, had pre-order orders lined up until the first half of next year. It was clearly in a state of high demand, with limited supply, and the Rhine brand became an instant hit, becoming the most popular beauty brand at the moment. As for the third piece of good news, it was the improvement in Alex's own treatment. 22nd floor. Emma's office. Alex, I think you've also seen the discussions about the Rhine cat online. All positive reviews and love. Your design has truly amazed the current fashion industry. We have received many joint authorization requests, not only domestically, but also from many famous foreign companies wanting to cooperate on joint designs. Therefore, to meet the huge business demand, your Rhine Cat EP development team will definitely need to expand its personnel and functions. Moreover, Alex, Emma leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. You will have independent personnel and assessment rights. You will have full authority to decide on the recruitment and dismissal of the entire team, as well as the salaries and year-end assessments of the team members. This news came as a bit of a surprise to Alex. Emma actually gave him full authority over recruitment, personnel disposal, and salary assessment, which was unprecedented in the company. As if seeing through Alex's thoughts, Emma smiled and continued. This is also the trust and recognition from our management team. As for your position, since you like working on the Rhine cat so much, you can continue to be the team leader. However, your salary will be adjusted to the vice president level, and you will receive equity incentives every year. Alex hadn't even received his first salary as a team leader yet, and he was already going to get a vice president level salary. He felt like a game character in a web game that leveled up instantly with one hit, shining brightly and upgrading all attributes at lightning speed. However, Alex knew in his heart that Emma was making an exception to give him so much power, mainly to keep him, fearing he would leave. In fact, even if she didn't do all this, Alex wouldn't leave. He really liked MX Company and admired Emma's style of doing things. Moreover, there was another reason. If he left MX Company, he would only get farther and farther away from that invitation to the Genius Club and from this mysterious organization hidden in the fog of history. Therefore, he would definitely not leave easily until he saw the contents of that invitation. Additionally, there is one more thing. Emma looked at Alex. I think the logistics department has finished arranging your new office. It's on the 20th floor, much larger than your previous one. You can go take a look. That's all for now. You can go back to work. Bang, tit-ton. After walking out of Emma's office, the heavy code-lock door closed automatically behind him. Alex blinked. He had only stayed in Emma's office for a few minutes, but when he came out, it felt like the world outside had undergone earth-shaking changes. The Rhine Cat IP development team had expanded its scale and become the largest department in the company. He had obtained independent personnel and assessment rights, almost like a local tyrant. In terms of salary, he was treated as a vice president with annual equity incentives. He hadn't even had time to get used to his private office before getting an even bigger one, equipped with a safe. Not to mention the anticipated authorization fees and sales dividends from that magical chemical substance. I'm upgrading too fast. Alex rubbed his neck and walked towards the elevator. The elevator opened on the 20th floor, and Alex quickly found his new office. It was 3 times the size of his previous office, with an additional lounge compartment, though it hadn't been furnished with a bed, clothes rack, or other items yet. In the office area, there was a large coffee table, a long sofa, 2 bookcases, some green plants, a luxurious wooden desk, a new desktop computer, and a new laptop, Everything was much more high-end than his previous office on the 17th floor. Alex spent some time moving his personal belongings from his 17th floor office to the new one, adding a touch of warmth to the spacious office. Lying back in the comfortable boss's chair, Alex closed his eyes. No more overtime and staying up late. Tonight I can finally go into the dream and cut open that safe.